Right, so let's have a little look. So we're going to have a look at challenge this afternoon. So let's have a little look. So why is everyone actually talking about stretch and challenge? So in 2020, Potential Plus UK, they led a report comparing the provision for the most able pupils in published Ofsted inspections in 2018 and 2019. So they found this staggering percentage of 44% of Ofsted reports highlighted the need for a change in provision for the most able pupils. There was a rise in the number of comments expressing concern about the expectation of teachers had for most able pupils, and the pupil progress was hindered by the lack of high expectation for those most able pupils. So as a result, schools have been asked to make sure that the most able pupils have learning experience that meet their needs and are sufficiently challenges. So schools have been urged to provide feedback provide professional development to support teachers to understand how to embed stretch and challenge in everyday teaching. So that's why I thought we would look at it today, because it seems quite important for all of us. So let's just see if this is working. So the first thing I want you to think about is all about how often do you actually consider lessons from the viewpoint of your more able pupils? So maybe take a minute now and think about a pupil that you've taught today or recently, and think about their experience in your classroom. So have you stretched them? Do you think you challenged them? Have they been given the right opportunities to develop and progress? Have you actually helped them become the best mathematician or the best scientist or the best musician? And maybe this could be a starting point for planning your lessons. So when doing a formal OBS, there's always that differentiation box, and we all think about this from the teacher perspective, but maybe thinking about the pupil will help your challenge be more meaningful. How about this next question then? So how well do you know the more able pupil in each class? As a music teacher, we have a huge variety of more able pupils in one class. So for example, I might have up to 6 or 7 pupils that play different instruments, which come with different challenges in itself. For example, a trumpet is in a different key to a piano, for example. We then have musicians who are really good at picking things up by ear, which is another challenge. And we also have musicians that really have good listening, so their parents might listen to the Beatles all the time, and that pupil has really good knowledge and experience about that particular genre or type of music. So it is definitely a challenge thinking about how to cater for all those pupils. And the most important thing is get to know them really well. Build up those positive relationships with them. And it can definitely help your planning. So for example, my trumpet player in a class the other day, we had to transpose the music to ensure that they could be fully challenged and stretched with the piece of music that we were doing. Obviously, it's really important to do this through monitoring and assessment strategies. And I urge you to get up and actually have a look and watch the pupil as they work. So for example, I'll give you 2 examples. One example is a pupil doing a piece of piano work, actually watching their fingers and how they're working it out has given me so much more insight into how they learn that instrument. Or it might be when my A-level student is trying to write a paragraph about Debussy, and watching them how they articulate and how they write about it. Again, it enlightens how they actually think and process those thoughts. So really get to know your pupils because it can really help your planning. So let me just go on to my next slide. So the next thing I've done here is lots and lots of different strategies about how you can differentiate. And you can take or leave any of these ones. So differentiation by questioning. So asking open-ended and higher order questions. I've mentioned blooms there, and I've attached the diagram in the next PowerPoint slide if you'd like to have a further look at it later. But as an example, so in a blues lesson, I quite often open the lesson with a quote. So for example, we were studying blues in year 8, and I put a quote by B.B. King. And as an extra challenge, I asked them, and this was for the whole class, not just the more able, all of them could have a think about this. and it asked them to think about what that quote meant and if they could unpick it throughout the lesson through the learning. And then by the end of the lesson, I asked more able pupils in my questioning about what they thought about that quote and how it helped them think about their understanding of this particular style. So there's one example. How about differentiation by resources then? So it asks more able learners to work more independently. So not telling them the answers, but giving them the tools to work it out. So for example, if you're an MFL teacher, it might be that you give them the dictionary and let them do some independent work whilst you're supporting the rest of the class. Maybe differentiation by task. So asking more able learners to complete totally different or adapted tasks from others in the group. And again, Bloom's can help with that. If you look at the Bloom's taxonomy, it can sometimes help you work out where to pitch that task. Differentiation by group. And this one comes with a little caution. So maybe try grouping more able learners together, or try putting more able learners with weaker pupils to encourage how to explain concept. And as I put there, use carefully, because you need to think about the impact of the learning of the more able pupil. So my suggestion would be to try it, do it once and see what the outcome is for both pupils, see if they're actually getting something out of that learning. Okay, differentiation by outcome. So that's technically not differentiation, but you're looking at the more able pupil producing a higher standard of work as a result of a less structured task. So you're looking at their end outcome. We've obviously got differentiation by extension. So this is extension work for the early finishers. And just to, I'm sure you've heard this before, but this should not be of more of the same, and they should really develop those complex skills than the original task. Differentiation by expectation. So making sure you've got success criteria for more able. In my lessons, I always say what the aim is and then what the extra challenge is. And we allow those pupils to skip the main aim and be able to go straight on to those extra challenges. I've also done differentiation by variety. So allowing pupils the choice to access learning through preferred techniques. In fact, I did this today. So with my pupils, again, it's in year 8, a lot of year 8 examples. My more able pupils, I gave them a sheet of music to learn. I gave them a video. I've given them some sound, and I've given them a demonstration, so visual learning as well in terms of my demonstration. So just different ways of accessing the learning. So one piano player did it by reading the music and the other one did it by through ear. It's a really good technique. Another one I've put there is, you know, if they're a mathematical student, maybe again in an MFL lesson and they're trying to learn numbers, you could do an equation activity with them to see if they can get to learn those numbers quicker. And then I've just added a couple of extras. So differentiation by vocabulary. We really want to model language that you would like more able pupils to adopt. And obviously feedback of high quality to really help stretch those more able pupils. So as I've said, I have put the Bloom's taxonomy there. So essentially you're building up to the red part. So I'm not going to spend long talking about that now, but that's just there in case you wanted to have a quick look at it. So finally, just another quick example of extra challenge and what we do in music. So this is kind of the main task that we have. And the expectation and the final outcome is actually not that piece of music. It's actually that all pupils will improvise. So in terms of extra challenge, we build it up. So improvisation, by the way, is when you make music up on the spot. So for example, all pupils will first of all try it with one note and just improvise in time with one note. And then we start building challenges up. So let's try 2 notes. Let's try 3 notes, and then we aim to get to 8. And essentially what's happening is I'm allowing the whole class to try extra challenge out. So they don't have to be a grade 8 trumpet player. They could have a good ear, or they could pick up piano quite quickly, but it allows the whole class to have a go at these extra challenges. And then beyond that, beyond the improvisation task, there's more challenge beyond that. So for example, if you look at that piece of music, they learn that piece and then they do their improvisation, which is what happens in jazz. and they make it a longer duration of performance, which again for a musician is quite a challenge. It's a high challenge, high demand to be able to play a full piece of music. So it's all about scaffolding, building it up, making it accessible for all so that everyone can feel like they can try the challenge. It's really important to motivate them and make them feel good about themselves. So that is how we kind of do it in music. And beyond that, we also look at kind of the listening side. So for example, in lesson, I might say to a pupil, okay, go and have a listen to another piece of Miles Davis and see how you can link it to this extract and see if there's any similarities or differences, which again would help them stretch their thinking. That's kind of how we do it in music, and hopefully you can adapt it to other lessons. So to finish off, you need to make sure that our challenge, we need to make sure that the most able pupils have learning experiences that meet their needs and are sufficiently challenged. And I've managed to do that in less than my allocated slot. So thank you. Thanks for listening.